Stranghoener sent me this book. It says 530 Reasons Why Deplorables Won. It's an awesome book. It's one of the shortest books ever written. And yet it is one of the most exhaustively, in my opinion, researched books because point by point by point, it lays out how President Trump won. Steve Stranghoener, thanks so much for being with us. He's a local guy, born right here in St. Louis, and a noted author around town. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on your show. It's quite a privilege.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a privilege having you. I love the book because it's funny. It looks, well, technically it's, 250-something pages, and it's thick, but it only has one sentence on each page.
Generally only one, and if you count it, it's about 3,600 words, whereas the stuff I normally write would be about 70,000 words.
Yeah.
This is a departure for me. Normally I write fiction, murder mysteries and thrillers and fantasies, but, I usually don't get into politics, but I just felt like this is something that somebody had to do.
Yeah. Well, it's really well put. In fact, the longest pages are devoted to all the people who voted for Obamacare. So you got list by list by list of everyone in Congress who voted for Obamacare, and that would be added to the 530 Reasons Why Deplorables Won.
Yeah, I thought it was important because these each stand alone, each one of these reasons, but a thoughtful reader is going to string some of them together, and some of it's obvious. You can string together the reasons that are attached to Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, and I wanted to list everyone who voted for that on a totally partisan basis because I think that's one of the things you have to go back to that and say that really shaped this stunning upset that occurred, 7-8 years later.
Yeah, the other part of it too is okay. So I'm now on to. So it's 530 Reasons Why. Okay, so I'm on to page now 100, and page 100, all it is number 137 ABC, page number 101, 138 CBS, page number 202, 102, 139 NBC. And you get the drift here. So every page has one of the news outlets on it. And really what this is, then you're on the New York Times, Washington Post. This is the novelty item, but it's a great thing to have because it's absolutely, in terms of books, it lays out a story that only needs a few words.
Well, I like to call it a keepsake rather than a novelty.
Right.
I would consider a novelty. The guy that wrote the book, Reasons for Voting for Democrats, and the whole thing was blank. And, he made a good point, and it was humorous, and that was a novelty. But the reason I put one reason per page, I'm very good at being verbose. And, I could bloviate for a long time with commentary and opinions on these. But I'll leave that, to guys like you who are much better at it in providing common sense analysis. But if you look at each one of these, I think what it does is it captures the last 8 years or so of history, which is important. And I just left it to the reader to decide, what do you think? I don't think anyone can dispute that these things had a big impact on this election. But I leave it to the reader to decide, what's behind it. And, there's plenty of blank space on each page. They can go in and, like I say, it's a keepsake.
Yeah.
Write what this meant to you and string things together, such as Reason 64. Some of these things seem prescient now.
Yeah.
Susan Rice on the Sunday shows. 104, the IRS scandal. 107, Obama's surveillance of James Rosen. 112, the indictment of Dinesh D'Souza. And what do we see today? We see revisionist history where supposedly, Russia made us all vote for Trump if you voted for Trump.
Right.
And his presidency is illegitimate. But now, we're seeing Susan Rice back in the news, and I don't think it's a coincidence.
Right. Well, it's a great book, and as you say, novelty, I didn't mean that it would be diminished in any way, because it really honestly is an historical document as well, and everything has a basis in absolute fact. And so, love the book. Steve Stranghoener, what's the website where I can find the book and everything else, and your career, everything else?
Yeah, just go to my Amazon page. Go to Amazon and hit the click on books and put my name in, and it'll come up. Or you can enter the name of the book. I'd also, if you don't mind, Jamie, I'd like to get a plug in for some of the things I normally write. I've got another book out, fiction. It's called Viper, and it's a psychological thriller. And the only thing that I think really sets my fiction apart, I hopefully write good, entertaining stuff.
Right.
Some of it's kind of crazy, but I write from a Christian perspective, which is different. So, how do you take a book like Viper, which is about a really horrific situation with a demented serial killer on the loose here in St. Louis, and somehow also bring the gospel out of that? And
well, you figure out. I got to get out of here. But Steve Stranghoener, thanks so much. We'll find you on Amazon and all your writings there. We appreciate the book, 530 Reasons Why Deplorables Won, and thanks so much. And I hope people explore your other awesome writings as well. Steve Stranghoener, thanks so much for joining us, friend.